Test, test.
Yeah. I'm here.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Hey, Oscar.
Yeah. Very,
Hey, yeah.
pretty well.
All right. It seems like, can everyone hear me? It seems like Nabil is having technical difficulties. So welcome everyone. Great, thank you. So welcome everyone to Town Hall. This is the 6th Town Hall. Let's see, next slide. So we have Open Bounty contributors. These are the top 3 contributors in the past 2 weeks. And we also got some valuable feedback on our development process by a bunch of people. Joining us, we have some new core contributors. Erin, Robert, Alex, Gina, and Richard. And we also have some open roles that you can see on our website. And also a reminder, we have a referral program. Status fundamentals highlights. Next one. Thanks. So this is for everyone tuning in on YouTube, we have a channel which is about studying fundamentals of Ethereum. And here are a bunch of resources that have been shared the last week. And also a reminder to check it out if you haven't already and want to learn more about the fundamental technology that we're building on top of. Next one, we have Johnny with a marketing update.
Thanks, Oscar. Can everyone hear me? All right. All right. So there's a lot going on right now. I'll go through this pretty quickly, but one of the big initiatives we're getting ready to launch is status projects. We're going to be rolling out a series of initiatives over the next few weeks, mainly at promoting the Web3 and Ethereum ecosystem. So stay tuned on updates around that. And the team's heads down just preparing beta launch cons. We're moving into production on all of our material now, preparing for mid-May, early June. There's a lot of content and community engagement programs and all the things we're getting ready to launch, which is great. There's also a number of events which we're going to be attending. Most notably, it's EdCon on May 3rd. There's going to be a few of us out there preparing a lot of interesting activities and an exciting launch, which is great. Ethereal May 11th, which is in New York. It's kind of Consensus's art-focused event, and we're going to be there with the art project team with Trubit, Jessica Angel, and a few others, displaying the work that we're providing there. And then another one that's really exciting is ETH Buenos Aires. I believe that's end of May, and that's going to be another really, really great event. We're working with Martin Arash on some updates to the status open bounty email onboarding flows, just the general onboarding and some comms around open bounty. So, really trying to pick up production and marketing around that. And then finally, there's just a lot of content we're putting out there, writing blog posts, producing videos, updating the website, just a lot of stuff that we're moving into production on now. So stay tuned for all the exciting stuff that we're going to be releasing over the next weeks, months. Yeah.
Thanks, Johnny. So we have these OKRs that we have set for Q2. And if you go to that link, you can it's tracking OKRs and also which swarms are targeting them. So I encourage you to check that out. We have for core and status of bounty and research and marketing and so on. And you can see the priorities on those lists. And also we'll see more in the swarm updates in terms of which swarms are targeting which OKRs. Andy, are you online? All right, let's skip that. Anton, are you online?
Yep. Can you hear me? Cool. So I hope you can. And I'm going to speak about automated testing as a part of continuous delivery process, how we are doing that in status, and what are we aiming to do next. So one of our objectives is continuous delivery for Q2 and 80% of automated test coverage. So I will start from sharing actual state. Right now, almost all main functionality are covered with functional automated tests, which are running against each PR. It's about all types of transaction via send command, request commands with both Ethereum and ESTT, which is test SNT, transactions with DApp, signing transactions with wrong password, etc., and all type of messaging, network switching, creation accounts, sign in, reading QR codes, DApp browsing, chats, deletation, and much more. So everything is done with Appium, Python, and South Lab as infrastructure solution. And okay, cool. And tests are running against each PR. So so far we have more than 500 tests run, for which were done in 2 months. And when any PR is moved into tests are executed in 10 minutes. So all the results can be found under PR and can be useful because they have logs, screenshots, first steps, and etc. So next screen, please. Can we go to the next screen? I can't. Yeah, so that's how test results are looked under PR. You can see that there is a number of passed, number of failed tests, and also you can see the detailed 2 last steps and error message. But the most useful part of that is device 1 to device number links. So next screen. I need next screen, yes. Yeah, so after clicking on any device link, you can see each test step, and in the end, you can see why the test failed. So for example, here, there is an error, doesn't support name for all transactions in the PR. And that's it. That's our actual state of functional tests. For now, we have only functional tests, but we have a lot of next steps, which I'm going to speak about right now. Yes, our next step is to become, so right now we are part of CD process, but we want to be more significant part of CD process. First of all, we would like not to merge APR if sanity test suite failed. It's really important because we don't want any bugs in main functionality to be in develop branch in our nightlist build, and also we don't want that to be in release. So for that, we need 2 things to be done. First of all, each QA team member should align all tests with new product behavior in scope of actual PR. And also for that, we need a single bug fixing day, which will remove all issues both in product and tests. So we will be able to block APR. And in addition, we are going to add automated upgrade testing, which is not covered, but that will be a part only for releases because we are not supporting upgrade from nightly to nightly and from PR to PR. And also we are going to introduce a performance testing with bid bar and game bench. There are several screens how it's going to look like in future. Now it's only PSC. So in future, it will be something like next screen. Yeah. Yes, so we will be able to track FPS, CPU, memory peaks, total downloaded, uploaded data per each test. And the most important part that we will be able to see which exactly state, what is the exact state of the app when we have CPU spikes, how many cores are used in case of CPU, and which thread are using the most of CPU. And almost the same graphs will be provided for memory, for power consumption, FPS stability. Everything will be compared and visible for everyone, like it's visible now with functional tests. So that's it from automated side.
Awesome. Thanks, Anton. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. There was some major issues happening with Zoom, but hopefully everything's working now. Let's skip back to, we had some open bounty stuff that we want to talk about and getting, increased adoption. And I think Andy is currently in transit. So Martin, are you there? Can you give a quick run through of this?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so hi, I'm Martin, part of the people working on Open Bounty. And this is just like a public service announcement ish that we're always looking for things to put bounties on. And if you, as a community member, see something that you think might be worth working on, then please tell us, and maybe you can even be the one solving it. And if that happens, please reach out in the Open Bounty channel on Riot. And if you have any other ideas how we can make it more attractive to contribute via Open Bounty, then please also reach out through that channel. And now we can go through some stats as well. That would be the slide, exactly. Thanks, Nabil. So as you can see, the week before this one or the week before last, we like almost peaked. But last one we haven't been so good. So we will try to one up next week or this week now. And yeah, there are some stats on the side. You can review these later if you want. I won't go into detail right now. Thank you.
Awesome.
That's it. Yeah.
Thanks, Martin. So yeah, if you have questions, just jump into the Open Bounty channel on Riot or Slack. All right. So let's jump into the swarm updates. We'll start in numerical chronological order. So we'll start off with our desktop work. Max, you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello, everyone. So update for this idea. For last 2 weeks, Vladimir worked on updating React Native desktop project to newer version of React Native. So it's compatible with status React version of React Native. And also we have started work to port latest sources of status React to run on React Native desktop platform. Currently work in progress, and Vladimir currently is working on this. Also was made investigation to integrate JavaScript core JS engine into React Native desktop. This should eliminate dependency on Node.js engine, and this also should increase compatibility with origin React Native project, because JavaScript core engine is used there. Lessons learned so far. It's original React Native project provides pretty interesting C++ native implementation that possibly can be reused for our project also, but it's required to investigate further how we can use it, and we are working on this also currently.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Max.
Thank you.
Adam.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so audit, security audit has started, and we got the report from the first week, but that was mostly looking at the network traffic and other things, like more general documentation. So actually we have a call today later to get more details. So I'll just update on the channel. But yeah, this is in progress. And we started testing mainnet. So basically I ran mainnet on real devices and just worked fine. So we are moving this to the testing team to do more thorough tests. And there's one issue discovered that we were using my servers for all networks. That's gonna need to be fixed before we release that. But yeah, that's the only blocker for now. Yeah, and the goals for the next 2 weeks is just continue testing, make sure that mainnet is working properly. And also finish automated status go tests. So we want to be sure that all the messaging layer on the status go is working fine, and check it during CI. So yeah. Yeah, so that's also like one part of our status go test lesson learned so far. So one part is that we just don't have an easy way to run tests with different networks. So yeah, this needs to be a little bit improved. But yeah, the swarm is like coming to the end. So yeah, good progress.
Thanks, Adam. You've also got this one as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so this was Adria working on this for the last 2 weeks. So this is basically about like refactoring get packages that we have in status go source code. So we basically wanted to simplify the dependencies between the packages, because right now it was like tangent and the responsibilities were in different packages. We wanted to reduce that. Improve the interfaces, naming, and all things around, so it's easier for external contributors to work with the code base, and that was achieved. So there's just little things that left, and we hopefully gonna close this successfully in the next in this or the next week. So yeah.
Awesome, thanks. Nimbus, with Zachary out, Jacek, do you want to give a quick update?
Yeah, I'm actually standing in for Zachary today. He's on vacation, but he was kind enough to provide a slide, so I figured it's good to go over it. We had some initial success, like a first milestone. It was pretty cool. We've managed to connect all the Geth nodes and parity nodes running out there on the testnet, which is a great step forwards. This means that we have some socket communications in place. We have the discovery protocol nailed so that we can see who's out there. We also have some of the basic cryptography set up in Nimbus now. So going forwards from here, we're going to be focusing on the wire protocol itself in order to be able to start syncing the blockchain. That's sort of the next step. And Zachary mentioned to me as well that one thing that's consistently important to think about is that there's not just one client out there. It's a collection of clients. There's Geth, Parity, PyEVM, and so on, and they all implement slightly different features. And those might be slightly different features for sync, but also other parts of the protocol. So it's always important to keep this in mind when developing for Ethereum and to have this sort of feature fragmentation in mind. So that's it for today. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks. Eric or Eugene for 71. It's the completed swarm. All right. I assume that. Is anyone on the line for this? No.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Good.
Hi. Okay, so if Eugene is not here, I'm gonna talk about it. So I think he wants to close this swarm because the goal is reached. So the main achievement was to update to V6, and then there was the Go team made a bunch of adjustments based on our feedback from a new protocol. So yeah, like it says, there will be some documentation now, and then the swarm will be closed. And with the new protocol, this swarm managed to get about a big reduction in bandwidth. So the metrics are almost reached. Let's say it's not 10 megabytes a day, but about 20, which is already quite better than before.
Awesome. Yeah, this is a crazy improvement. So very happy to see this out the door. And I think it was pushed in the most recent release, and hopefully, I guess when the documentation is done, this can be wrapped up. So thanks to everyone who worked on this. Moving on, we have we're going backwards. So 68 metrics. Chad.
Yeah, hi. So quick background on core metrics, if you don't know about it. it's a way for us to track some core metrics to understand how the app is doing, to understand, for example, if people are using dApps or sending transactions for the purposes of like learning and actually improving the app, and to do it in a way that's like privacy first. For example, we communicate upfront to users about what we're doing. We include like links to the source code, and it's like opt-in. And of course, you can opt out at any time. In the last 2 weeks, we've upgraded Instabug. There's a whole bunch of new features there, including a survey feature. And we've drafted an in-app messaging survey that we're going to use for gauging message reliability. And we've added some opt-in and out toggle preferences and settings. We've got a new events added to onboarding screen and push notification prompt. And we've created some dashboards and Slack updates. So every day we'll get some core metrics pumped into the 68 core metrics channel that can give us an idea of how we're doing. For the next 2 weeks, we're also going to be sending some events to Instabug for triggering the surveys. In this case, when someone sends a few messages, we'll pop up a survey. And again, this is opt-in, asking them to rate their messaging experience. We're adding a read more link to the opt-in screen so users can find out exactly what we're doing. And we're also trying to close this swarm. That's it in core metrics.
Awesome. Onboarding, Andre.
Hey guys, hear me?
Yep.
So the main thing about the onboarding swarm is that we changed the way we iterate on it, and we decided to sync up our iteration with the town hall meetings. So the previous 2 weeks, we were pretty much figuring out the priorities for the first week. And then we finally did it, updated the copy with the marketing team, scheduled some test sessions, and made first initial wireframes for improving the welcome and home screen. And for the next 2 weeks, the plan is much more structured. It's implement the copy updates in the app, and all the rest tasks are more design related, which are like drafting out the welcome screens and creating actual mockups. I integrate the friend invitation to the onboarding process. Explore the possibility of adding Touch ID and creating some initial mockups and integrating it into the existing flows, and improving the wallet setup to encourage people to transfer their funds to the status wallet to increase the daily active usage and possibly the number of transactions. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. 87, Eric.
Yeah, can you hear me again? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So this one was running for a few weeks, and we finally got it merged into Develop. It was a pretty big PR with Jan and Andreas, and it is basically the closure side of low traffic swarm, which tries to take advantage of all the features of Whisper v6, as well as making some optimizations regarding the size of the messages and the number of messages that are needed to have basic information like scene messages. And yeah, so now the first iteration, the MVP is done and merged, so it's in the current nightlies. And we are currently in iteration 1, which is about reintroducing group chats, because there was already in the last release group chats, some features of group chat were deactivated. And for this merge, we deactivated group chat entirely, just so that we can focus on getting it merged. And now we, maybe today or the next day, so we will reintroduce group chat without the bugs and with all the features. And then we will have another iteration that will be basic. Maybe we will skip it because actually some of it is already done. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. All right, thanks, Eric. 83 energy efficient. Igor?
Yeah, I'm here. And so basically what we did in the last 2 weeks, we made a sort of a proof of concept when we use Android events to post the note when the app goes to the background. And it turns out that it gives some like improvement to energy efficiency, but it is not as good as I expected it to be. So we will dig into it more. And we also did some work in terms of polishing test guidelines and body of knowledge for energy efficiency testing and make tests reproducible and things like that. And also there is a, like Lucas did in the like very recently, a proof of concept on how to measure energy in the auto test. So I hope that on this dashboard that Anton showed, we also will be able to see how much energy does the app eat right now. So unfortunately, or like the new protocol is a very good thing, but since we relied on the bots that were sending messages to test energy efficiency, right now we need to support this new protocol to be able to compare the test builds with the nightly. And then we'll also try to make some kind of comparison, because we have our key result is to keep the background and foreground energy comparison within the boundaries of the similar IAM apps. So we need to actually try to make this comparison to provide a baseline. And yeah, I want to finalize all the testing guidelines and have someone from the test team to review them and like to fix bugs in them. So yeah, that's all from our side.
Awesome. Thanks, Igor. 92. Adam?
Yep. So this is a research to make sure or just find out if Discovery version 5 is usable, and we can use it to switch from static nodes to dynamic nodes found using Discovery protocol. So Dimitri was working on this recently, huge effort to make it work. So the current state is that we have a pull request that's gonna be merged like today or tomorrow probably. Also, there was a lot of improvements in network usage, because that was the biggest issue with Discovery version 5. So that was also resolved. And there were also extensive tests on Docker clusters. So we basically formed a Docker swarm cluster, and Dimitri ran there a lot of tests to make sure that it works fine. So yeah, this looks quite solid. So we want to merge pending PRs and start testing on real devices and see how it can evolve later. Yeah, lessons learned. Discovery 5 version 5 requires custom code when compared to the previous solution, and it can consume a lot of traffic. So we were doing some tricks to lower the number of bytes going back and forth. So yeah, it looks good for now. So yeah, we'll proceed with the steps in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, awesome. 120, Oscar?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
So this is about sort of the swarm process that you are seeing here at the town hall. And largely it's about sort of we're moving from having issues where it's sort of ad hoc, how you create ideas and they are not updated and so on, towards being more pull request based, to just like a code base where it's sort of you have more discrete steps when a swarm starts and when you update iterations and all these kinds of things. So that's been the main thing we've done. And we also made the ideas repository more homey, so you can see which ideas are in progress. You can see who is committed to an idea and these kinds of things. And the sort of main things we're trying to do is one is in terms of knowledge building. So make sure that people sort of, there's a general consensus of what a swarm is and sort of what it means for a swarm to be well defined and having roles and all these things. And also making sure that we have swarms that cover all the core OKRs that we set for ourselves. And a third goal is to enable experimentation for status open bounty. So that's around sort of taking steps towards creating a decentralized autonomous organization and tying swarms and work that we're doing to compensation. As for goals for next 2 weeks, it's about ensuring the repository is kept up to date and supporting swarm leads and people who create ideas, clarify evaluator roles, and capture and spread knowledge about sort of the life cycle of a swarm, definition and roles and so on. And if you go to the next slide, we have some. So here's, you can see, if you go to that URL, you can see the idea registry where you can see sort of how each idea is doing, if it's in progress and so on. And we also have some stats, things that happened last 2 weeks. So we have lots of ideas that are sort of committed, including some historical ones. Got 11 well-defined swarms in progress, some ideas in review. Right now we're covering 50% of core OKRs, and we obviously want to, and that's sort of well-defined in progress swarms, so they're also draft swarms. We obviously want to push it up higher. And we also have 30 people who committed to at least one well-defined in progress swarm. So thanks everyone who has been helping out with this and sort of, yeah, being a part of us adopting this thing. And if you have any sort of feedback on how the swarm concept is going or thoughts or anything, don't hesitate to write it in either Swarm channel or 120 Slack channel. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Oscar. This is pretty cool to see the coverage and what everyone's working on. All right. I think the next two are Open Bounty related. So Martin?
Yep. I hope you can hear me.
Yep.
Cool. So just connecting to what Oscar just said, we're trying to move to a model where we have these individual swarms and they contribute to like delivering value to the status app and the status community. And an important part of that is that these sort of that work can be incentivized like in a decentralized way and all that kind of stuff. And we have Open Bounty already, but it's like very specific to this model of a bounty. And we want to experiment with ways where we can incentivize entire swarms to like tackle a bigger project or ship like a new feature or stuff like that. And so this swarm is for that. It's started last week. And over the last 2 weeks, we defined the idea and worked out a timeline in which it seems achievable, and started working on 2 compensation schemes that could work for incentivizing entire swarms. And so for the next 2 weeks, we'll try to kick off 2 swarms that use these compensation schemes, and we'll push that into the community as well, announcing it, and perhaps we'll try to create a community built swarm as well. Yeah, the exit criteria for this is that we want to complete it 4 experiments like this. And based on these 4 experiments, we want to implement new compensation models for Open Bounty, so that this entire swarm model can be supported and incentivized by the status community.
That sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of these experiments.
Me too.
All right, 140.
Yeah, that's also me, I guess. So one thing with Open Bounty right now is, or one thing everyone has to go through who wants to use it, is our onboarding experience. And currently that onboarding experience is not very nice, or at least the team working on Open Bounty thinks we can improve a lot. And so this form is about reworking the onboarding experience and removing a couple of roadblocks that people consistently identified over the last months. And in the last week, we already started working on a new flow that eliminates a bunch of these pain points. And so in the next 2 weeks, we'll try to hash that out, like defining actual screens, and perhaps even start implementing stuff. A lesson learned has been that a real-time whiteboard thing, realtimeboard.com in particular has been very helpful in mapping out these user journeys and shuffling around the steps and all that kind of stuff. So we had a really productive session working out what the onboarding should look like using that tool. Yeah, and the exit criteria for this one is that there's no more whitelisting going on. So that's been a particularly limiting hurdle for new users, that they have to wait on us to whitelist them. And we really want to remove this so that everyone can just move at their own pace, start using Open Bounty and not be blocked by us. And we hope that this swarm and this reduction of friction in the onboarding will contribute to value transacted through Open Bounty and a lot more bounties and bounty issuers. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. I think that's it. So we'll jump to Q&A. Before that, I just wanted to rehash this section here, which is about our Q2 OKR. So that link is available to everyone. You can punch it in and have a look at all the different teams' OKRs as various tabs at the bottom, and you can see what people are working on. And yeah, I think it's really important for people to get context on what everyone considers as the most important thing. So be sure to check it out. So on that note, now we can move into the Q&A. I think we have one question around when we will launch, which I'm assuming means when we will launch on mainnet. So we will launch on mainnet when the security audit is complete. We are 2 weeks into probably 4 to 6 weeks of the audit. As Adam said, we'll find out more this afternoon when we have a call with our third-party security auditing firm who's doing the audit. And then, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Last week, the update was everything's fine, but they are about 15% of the way through. Where the next question is about the hardware wallet. So the current situation with the hardware wallet is we are code complete on what should be in the Java card, and we're looking for a manufacturing partner to work with us to actually build the cards. So that's a hurdle that we are currently, it's not our top priority, but it's definitely something we're still working on. At the same time, we're very wary that we want to go with a trusted firm, because obviously this is something that's incredibly sensitive. We need to ensure it's secure. So, there's been a lot of agencies or companies who have approached us, but we want to make sure we go with the right manufacturing partner. So yeah, that's that. Next question: will there be public chats that have owners, like group chats, but public to anyone with some privileged users? Yes. So that is something that is currently planned. And then there will also there's thoughts around SNT utility and how you can manage that group chat so that you can ensure that quality is high enough that potentially there's a threshold for joining or something like that. So public chats is something that the team is looking into. I don't think it is an OKR in Q2 as far as I know for the core team, but it is something that has been dabbled. I think there was a couple of early swarms that ended up getting merged and then disbanded on this topic last quarter. But yes, it is something that it likely won't get built in Q2, but probably in Q3. Yeah, I think next time we should try and maybe put these questions up, because then it'll be easier for people to actually see the questions as well. All right, any other questions, whether on YouTube or on Zoom or Slack or Riot or anywhere? Nope. Okay. All right. Otherwise, yeah, you can come find us on Riot. Everyone's there. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Hold on, Nabil, there's one more question.
Oh, yeah. One more question. Yep. Oh, yeah, I got it. When will there be push notifications, offline inboxing for public chats? So this is an interesting one, because the way in which public chats are currently implemented is that you're kind of listening in on a channel. I probably am going to botch the explanation. So does someone want to jump in and explain the reason why this part is hard?
Sure, I can jump in. So we have a draft form for extending push notifications to deal with these kinds of scenarios. Right now, it's not a top priority, but depending on user feedback, we might move it up. It's not something that's part of the Q2 OKRs. So I think it's something that's more likely for Q3. That's the current situation anyway. I don't know, Pedro, if you want to elaborate on that, if you're here. No, okay, so that's the current situation. It's not the top priority right now.
There's a follow-up to that, Oscar. Does it work the same way as topics on the IPFS equivalent or of Whisper?
Currently, no, not really. It's only one-on-one chat currently. If you want to read more about this, you can have a look at say if you go to the IDS repository and search for push notifications, there is a draft there that Pedro wrote up with some thoughts on how we can extend our current implementation.
Awesome. Thanks, Oscar. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and see you all again in 2 weeks.